Congratulations, team 10-2-65.
10-2-65.
102-65.
10-2-65.
Four screens.
Four screen.
Four screen.
Full screen.
Hi, we're Team 10-2-65, 4th Screen from St. Louis, Missouri. And last spring, we flew down to Houston, Texas to compete in the first World Championships in this year's game, Into the Deep. There's a new game every year, but this year's game involves teams putting these blocks into these buckets and these fancy blocks onto these bars. Our team's solution? Our robot Venus. Yes, like the planet. Venus has a 3-axis claw to rotate and pick up samples at any position. After it does this, it transfers the sample into our outtake, which lifts it up and puts it into high baskets and low basket. It also allows us to score specimens passively. But is this enough to compete at Worlds? There's only one way to find out. We began development on our team's robot immediately, starting with an outtake that could passively score samples and specimens, but also making a rolling intake to pick up samples from the submersible. After running this system in competition a couple times, we figured out that this system sucked, so we pivoted to a new fancy claw. This was a big improvement, but it doesn't win us competition, but luckily it doesn't have to. Because our team just won the first place Inspire Award, which means our season isn't over because we are heading to the first World Championships in Houston, Texas. There are still improvements that we need to make, like the claw needs to pick up easier, and our robot just needs to have faster cycle times in general. And with all these improvements made, it's time to head to Worlds. As soon as we got there, the team started scrambling to set up the pits so that we could go to judging, where we could explain our impact in our community and also our robot to some judges. The process of judging qualifies us for all the awards in the competition. This is how we actually won our first Inspire Award at state. This is the most important part of our competition, and for a lot of people, it is the most stressful part of the entire competition. After relaxing for a little bit, it's time to go to our first match.
3, 2, 1, go!
Sadly, we lost, but it's not all bad, however, because this score is higher than we ever scored at state. For this next match, however, we're feeling a little bit more confident, because we're playing with Team Orbit Knights, which is an incredible team that's scoring samples, but not only that, they also have a 5 specimen autonomous, which gives them 100 points right off the bat. Because of Orbit Knights' scoring ability on samples, we're playing specimens, which is sadly not our preferred method of scoring. This is our first win at Worlds. Hopefully it isn't our last. But that's not to say our teammates did not carry us, however. Orbit Knight scored a vast majority of the points, while we sat there de-scoring nearly every single point we put up. Our specimen mode is not consistent to compete at Worlds. Our team isn't very good at competing with specimens. So hopefully we don't have to play specimens. We have to play specimens next match. We did do a little bit better this match. We adjusted the way we picked up the specimens so that we're able to pick them up faster. This does not mean that we scored any points, however. We scored 20 whole points. and D-scored the rest. Simply incredible. Luckily, thanks to our teammate and another opponent's penalty, we managed to somehow tie this match. We also lost match 56. But this is certainly not because of our teammate. Our teammate somehow managed to still get us above a score of 200 points. Now it seems to be becoming a pattern that every single time we play specimens, we lose unless we have a really good teammate on our side. Luckily, next match, we'll have just that. Team Eastern Foxes is an incredible team that averages a total of 223 points solo per match. If we can't win while playing specimens with this team, then something is seriously wrong.
Goes to your Blue Alliance. Almost 300 points in that matchup.
This match was great for us. Not only were we actually able to contribute to our alliance by scoring a total of 6 specimens, we actually did not D-score a single specimen. And for a team that usually D-scores every single point they score, this is incredible. Now matches take a lot of focus, and so much focus in fact, that this guy right here did not realize until watching the video back that this robot has been on its side the entire match. During this time, other members of our teams went around doing something called Student Ambassador, where you go around giving tours to people who might not be as involved with FIRST. And during this time, you get to meet some fairly important people. Our next match is match 92, and finally we'll be able to play sample side, which is the side that we're best at. The bad news is we are up against one of the best sample bots in the entire competition. Sadly, despite being put on samples, we also lost this match as well, scoring a total of 12 samples total throughout the entire match, which is firmly average for world standards, but at the same time, it is the highest amount of points we've ever scored. We also lose our next match, but this time it was a lot more avoidable. The score that we were up against was not super impossible to beat, but instead rather, the strategy the other team used was a good counter to our team. You see, last match, the opposing alliance allowed us to pick up as many samples as we want without getting knocked around by the other robots too much. This time, however, we had some pressure put on us because Team Quality Control managed to limit the amount of samples we picked up while also not getting as many penalties. After playing specimens for the entire competition, it's understandable that it took us a little bit to get used to playing samples again, despite it being what we're best at. After getting into a rhythm, we finally won our next 2 matches. Our final match is a weird one, to say the least. At the beginning of the match, we were kinda confident until we saw what rank each of our opponents were. Us and our teammate are both lower ranked than our opponent and their teammate, which puts us at a severe disadvantage since clearly they have won more matches than we have, or scored more points than we have. And at the beginning of the match, we somehow decided that it would be the best idea to abandon any semblance of strategy that we had going into it and decide to play both samples and specimens, something almost unheard of during the entirety of the world's competition. And for good reason. It did not work well. We spread ourselves too thin, barely scoring any points on either side. So we lost, by a lot this time. This was the last of our matches. We managed to end up with a win-loss ratio of 4-5-1, which is pretty alright, considering our previous year, we managed to go 1-9, which is a little sad. We obviously didn't get picked to play in the playoffs, which is kind of a blessing in disguise, because that means that we don't have to get up early tomorrow, which means that we can be energized for whenever awards are handed out, which we're not confident that we'll get any, but there is always a chance. As the final day approached, every single person on the team was hoping for an award.
Here's what the judges had to say about the winners of the Design Award. Every bit that could be 3D printed, they made it happen. The judges were impressed not just with the design of the robot, but also the design of their process. This team is a force to be reckoned with. Congratulations, Team 10265.
We had finally done it. Screen has finally won a technical award. For the past 4 years, we have always won some sort of non-technical award. But now, our robot is finally at a quality that is good enough to get recognition at Worlds. But, you see, there's a problem. The awards had started early, which means that none of us were even there. All that worked throughout the season, and only one of us was able to be there to actually receive it. Don't hear what I'm not saying, however. We are grateful that we got the award. I mean, not everyone gets an award at Worlds, but it would still be nice if everyone was there to actually take credit in it. And we weren't the only ones. You see, other teams there also apparently didn't get the memo either, that the awards were going to start earlier than they used to on the next day. You see, for the past 4 years, the awards have started after the playoffs have gone. This means that not only were we not there for the awards, hundreds of other teams weren't either. I mean, regardless, we still got the awards, we still managed to take pictures with them after, and we still had an incredible time at Worlds. And besides, there's always the opportunity to do it next year.